was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people.
The Avengers is really the culmination of a few films that have come before that really set up the story. So it's bringing together Captain America, Thor, Black Widow, Hulk, Hawkeye. Nick Fury is part of it, Agent Coulson is part of it. His films are so huge now and have so many shots, usually one house can't take on everything. We had Iron Man from the previous film. We had built on kind of what we developed for the first two films. And what was great about this one was he had a brand new suit, he has brand new ways to put it on and take it off that were really fun to come up with. But he's a hard surface creature, you don't see his eyes. And so when we started bidding the work, the character we really wanted to do was the Hulk. A lot of it was working with Mark. We set out from the beginning and knew that we needed to have an actor do this performance. And he and Joss would talk a lot about anger and, what type of anger is this Hulk? And a lot of it came from how Mark was playing Bruce Banner, that kind of world-weary, kind of tired, accepting of the fact that, he's got this, the Hulk inside of him, and that's part of who he is. We did photo shoots where we shot basically everything, the area between his fingers. He opened his mouth, we shot his gums and his teeth and, the corners of his eyes. Everything we could find to make sure that Hulk was based on him. But on top of that, we also did a life cast. Life cast is a molding process where we can actually put plaster, and they use a lot of very high-tech materials to do it now, but we take our CG Mark and we take the life cast scan and we kind of clone over the really high-frequency detail. I mean, one of the great things that Joss did right from the beginning was say, Mark Ruffalo should be part of the design, which was new, because the last two films, you didn't see as much of the actor in the Hulk design. And so by incorporating Mark into it, we added the same sort of little bits of gray in the temples of Hulk's hair that Mark Ruffalo has. All these things that we don't typically do, but it really lended a lot of credibility to the character, because in the end, I think that decision to really look at Mark Ruffalo and try and incorporate everything we could from him made a big difference. I'd say New York was probably our other big challenge on the film, in that the whole last third of the movie is generally set in New York, but we were only shot there for 3 or 4 days of principal photography. So the rest of New York, if you're flying around, or it's an aerial shot, or we're down on Park Avenue Viaduct, like in the trailer there's that shot where it circles around all the Avengers. That whole area was shot on a green screen in New Mexico. And the way we did it was we had a team of 4 guys go out to New York, and they spent 8 weeks shooting. They're kind of like, Google Street View, you have those spheres you can look around. It's like a super high resolution version of that. And it's the same idea, like every 100 feet or so, we'd shoot another super high resolution sphere of photography. And then we had LiDAR go in and scan all the buildings. So we had geometry to start with, and we had all this photography. Then we'd project the photography onto the buildings, and that's how we'd make our background plates. And then on the street level, we had to get rid of all the cars, people, dressing, everything, put back in streets, and then dress it out. So we ended up building taxi cabs, cop cars, trees, sandwich boards, construction equipment, and everything we found in New York, we would sort of build to dress out those backgrounds. I mean, our goal in the end was to make it feel like you couldn't tell that, it wasn't entirely shot in New York. It's extremely complicated and time-consuming to try and do everything in CG. So we certainly film everything that's real that we can. And I think the best effects work always, has some component of reality to kind of hinge everything around. Even if it's the photography we use, rather than building an entirely CG New York, starting from all that photography really gave us something to kind of anchor the shots around, and I think that makes a big difference. With that sort of focus in mind and the goal for each project, you really can take on any kind of things you want to create.